all pro, and you're just an amateur. You can try as hard as you can, but you can't handle us. I'm waiting at the bench and signing autographs. I'm always in first place, you always in the back. Homie, I'm all pro, and you're just an amateur. You can try as hard as you can, but you can't handle us. I'm waiting at the bench and signing autographs. I'm always in first place, you always in the back. Homie, I'm all pro.
APW faithful, welcome to another exciting edition of All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars. I'm JJ Purdum alongside my broadcast colleague, Matthew Theall.
The greatest mind in professional wrestling, again right here on Gym Wars. And look at this, the Lucky 7 tournament continues. Round 2 will happen today on Gym Wars as Rood takes on JR Kratos in the first match of that tournament.
The former worldwide internet champion takes on the Man Beast from Sacramento. Also in the Lucky 7 tournament, the Golden Boy Dylan Drake taking on the returning Brian Kendrick.
That's right, a number of years ago, Brian Kendrick started off his wrestling career here at All Pro Wrestling, amongst many other places. The former WWE superstar glad to come back to All Pro Wrestling and enter the Lucky 7 tournament for a chance at the Universal title.
And in the main event of this week's Gym Wars, Jeckles, right here, APW's own Jeckles, takes on the Unified World Heavyweight Champion, the Almighty Sheik. The title is on the line. What an impressive main event we have here on Gym Wars this week, Matthew.
Let's start the action off right now. All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars this week. We've got a great opening contest. Have you seen it on the sheet?
Absolutely. The sheet is telling me that we are having a debut. An APW graduate, Alan Michaels, making his debut right here on Gym Wars. And he's got a very big opponent in the Sheik Kanabati, a very popular young man here at All Pro Wrestling.
Introducing first, from Richmond, California, weighing 188 pounds, Alan Michaels.
Alan Michaels has a huge opportunity to make an impact here tonight, Matthew, if he gets a victory over Sheik Kanabati.
Yes, and we did see Alan Michaels a couple of weeks ago in the Battle Royal that took place just before the start of the Lucky 7 tournament, but this is his first singles match right here on Gym Wars TV. Congratulations, really got through the boot camp in record time.
Absolutely, absolutely. To be able to perform and win in the singles match is a big difference from a Battle Royal, but he's got his hands full against one of the most popular superstars here at the All Pro Wrestling roster, and that would be Sheik Kanabati.
And there he is, Sheik Kanabati.
And his opponent from Oakland, Iran, weighing 188 pounds, Sheik Kanabati.
Look at this though, shit. Look at this, JJ. He seems subdued.
Actually, I was gonna say that myself. Usually Sheik comes out here full of fire and always interacting with the crowd, and he just seems a little more relaxed than normal, but apparently he's got his mind wrapped around the game and the match, and maybe preparing himself a little bit more for this young man.
It's got to be something more. Why would he be so focused going up against a kid who's in his 80s? There's nothing to take away from the training at the APW Ring camp, of course, but Sheik Kanabati would be far more confident heading into this match. Something's bothering him.
Well, hopefully he's able to get his head in the game, because in the All Pro Wrestling garage, you don't want to take your mind off of the wrestling match that's taking place, because a loss would really propel him backwards here in APW right now against this young man, Alan Michaels. You hear that the APW faithful are chanting the real Sheik, and I believe that's in reference to the Almighty Sheik coming here to All Pro Wrestling and bringing the Unified World Championship.
There's enough room in All Pro Wrestling for two Sheiks. There's no problem with that.
Sheik is a very important term, and perhaps the APW faithful have some meaning behind that. Maybe there is only room for one Sheik here in APW.
It doesn't matter. The bell is rung. The match is underway. The debut contest for Alan Michaels going one-on-one with Sheik Kanabati. How charged is this kid right now?
He looks just completely on fire. Of course, his family is in the audience right now. They are right there in the thick of things in the APW faithful, in the action zone, and a shake of the hand. Oh man! What exactly just happened, Matthew? He kicked him in the face, and then he pulled him on top of him.
Now he's kicking Alan Michaels out of the ring, shoving Toby.
What is happening?
Your winner via pinfall in third.
There's a lot of people here that have a lot of opinions. I just have one. If you already have a Sheik, why would you need another one? So, since apparently apparently you don't understand Islam either, because there's only one Almighty. His name is Allah, and anyone who is a Sheik would know that. So, I hope you guys enjoy your new Sheik.
Okay, honestly, Matthew Theall, I don't know what just happened.
Do you have what it takes to become a pro wrestler? The APW Bootcamp Training School is accepting applicants for pro wrestlers, managers, valets, and referees. All Pro Wrestling home APW Bootcamp is where future legends are born. For the last 19 years, APW has been the leader in talent development. Top graduates include the Great Khali, Crash Holly, Spike Dudley. For your free brochure, call us at 510-785-8396.
Sheik Kanavati trying to send a message moments ago here on Gym Wars. You got to wonder exactly what's going on.
He didn't try. He was successful. He came here. He promised to put on a wrestling match for All Pro Wrestling, for the All Pro Wrestling faithful, to give Alan Michaels his debut. All he did was kick Michaels in the head, force him to pin Sheik Kanavati himself, and then he complained about the Almighty Sheik being here, and he walked off.
Well, we've got plenty more All Pro Wrestling action, including another Lucky 7 tournament match with this man, J.R. Kratos. J.R. Kratos is just a beast. He comes out on fire every time he comes to APW.
J.R. Kratos, you're right, he is a beast. He's not the destroyer of man, of course, but he's certainly out there. He makes a statement every time he walks into the ring, that's for sure.
Well, I remind you, it was not so long ago that he was victorious in a match against your man, the destroyer of man, Damian Grundy. In another tournament, you forget the Young Lions?
Okay, yes, well, okay. There was a tournament that happened before the Lucky 7 tournament. That's not what happened here right now. Now we've got the chance for Will Rood, J.R. Kratos. One of these guys could walk away the #1 contender for the Universal Championship.
Opponent from East Carolina, California, weighing in 216 pounds, Will Rood.
Of course, Will Rood, another gentleman that I really don't like all that much.
No lack of fan love for this young man, Will Rood, a former APW Worldwide Internet Champion at such an early stage of his career to hold that victory. Okay, you had to add that after I just
Make sure that everyone understands that Will Rood right now is not the Worldwide Internet Champion.
Okay.
That's all. Just making sure that everybody has their facts straight. I got my facts straight here in my sheet. Okay. And then we've got this huge match. This is round 2, the opening match of round 2 of the Lucky 7 tournament.
The Lucky 7 tournament continues this week on APW Gym Wars, and this is a very well put together match. First time an opportunity to see Will Rood take on J.R. Kratos in one-on-one action. Toby Reynolds has his work cut out for him today, Matthew.
Absolutely. Try to keep these two people apart. That's going to be a challenge, especially with all the time that Will Rood, I hit on this the last time he was in the ring. Will Rood spent an obscene amount of time in the gym. You could see in his opening video while he was making his entrance, Will Rood has put on quite a bit of size in the last year here at APW.
That denotes how much he works hard in the gym. Oh, and J.R. Kratos works that much harder, just completely leveling.
Now, what's it like for Will Rood? Will Rood, he has put on all his weight. He's become one of the strongest men, one of the most well-built men in all pro wrestling. Getting in a ring in a match like this against J.R. Kratos, who's going to outmuscle him?
And to be totally dominated physically by J.R. Kratos. Wow, with authority. Oh, and a standing drop kick.
Oh, wow.
That agility is going to be the difference maker for Rood. Rood off the second turnbuckle with a shoulder tackle.
But all it did was knock down J.R. Kratos. He immediately got to his hands and feet.
A European uppercut, another one. Will Rood is going to have to stay on top of J.R. Kratos. Reversal by the big man. Crisscross. Oh, wow. Out of nowhere.
Will Rood didn't even know what direction that was coming from.
Shoulder tackle, and I've seen car wrecks with less impact. Oh, and just driving up right boot right to Will Rood's shoulder. J.R. Kratos is completely just on fire right now in this match here this week on Gym Wars.
Like I said, Will Rood might have bitten off a little more than he could chew in this one.
A suplex with authority, and it's not too many men on the APW roster that can handle Will Rood like JR Kratos is right now. And the fans evenly split right now in their love for both of these men. Both fan favorites on the APW roster. Rood trying to fight back up to a lateral base.
There's no quitting Will Rood. That much is true.
Rood back up to his feet with a little assist from JR Kratos. Kratos picks him up and with ease up in the air with a scoop slam. And when's he going to meet the canvas?
Look at JR Kratos just standing tall, towering over the fallen Will Rood.
Kratos made that look easy, and now going for the cover with a grapevine. Only a 2 count. Toby Reynolds was right in position right now, and both men going back up to a lateral base, and looks like JR Kratos with the better of the exchange. Off the ropes, the Irish whip. Duck under a clothesline. And a back elbow. Rood just out of the way. Oh, and a flying forearm shot takes down Kratos.
That's the second time a diving strike has really helped out Will Rood. He's got to stick to that if he wants to continue to take JR Kratos off of his feet.
And it's that lightning-like, a standing drop kick right to the head of Kratos. It's that lightning-like speed that earned him that Worldwide Internet Championship a couple of months ago.
Blocked by JR Kratos, firing into the midsection of Will Rood across the face.
And a kick to the midsection. Rood off the ropes. Oh, swinging neck breaker. And that could be the difference maker right there. Rood goes for the cover. Only able to get a 1 count.
A 1 off of that.
Any normal man would have stayed down for 3 after that. But JR Kratos is not normal.
Will Rood picking JR Kratos back up to his feet. I do question the strategy of that. If I was him, I'd keep JR Kratos down and just pummel him with all I got.
Irish whip reversal by Kratos. Rood into the opposite turnbuckle. Charging Kratos to the clothesline. The winner of this match gets 1 step further in this Lucky 7 tournament and an opportunity to become the #1 contender to the most important championship that we possess, the APW Universal Heavyweight Championship.
That's absolutely 100% true as JR Kratos throws Will Rood to the outside. The winner of this match will take on either Dylan Drake or Brian Kendrick, whoever wins their match later on today.
Kratos dumping Will Rood to the outside like so much trash. And now falling to the outside right in the action zone. Oh, and a just big stomp. JR Kratos. He is becoming a little more aggressive each and every week. We see him out here on APW Gym Wars.
Big block by Will Rood, a big chop to the chest of JR Kratos. Again, Will Rood refuses to die. He's just thrown out there, possibly on his head, and he's still fighting back.
Oh, and that knife edge chop from the big man. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it reverberated in the speakerphones, on the earphones that I'm wearing right now. Just wow.
Both men back into the ring. Looks like JR Kratos still has the advantage in this match so far.
Will Rood looks like he's out on Dream Street right now. Apparently, the only thing keeping him up at a lateral base is just his heart and will and desire to win. Kratos charges in for the avalanche splash. And how big, I didn't catch what the ring announcer, Steve Lawrence, said earlier on. How much does JR Kratos weigh? He's got to be close to 300 pounds.
Close to it, absolutely. He's just hoisting Will Rood to the top rope.
He did it with ease, and JR Kratos pummeling the midsection, but Will Rood is still in this thing. Don't count him out. And Kratos.
I mean, Will Rood is still in a very dangerous position.
Right boot of Will Rood catching the face of Kratos takes him down. The big man is in trouble right now.
Can't really see Will Rood at this vantage point, but here he comes. Oh! Mid-air spear by JR Kratos.
Caught him out of nowhere, and Kratos with a cover. And that's all she wrote as JR Kratos picks up the victory.
Via pinfall in 5 minutes, 26 seconds, JR Kratos!
Well, JR Kratos advances to the next round, the finals of the Lucky 7 tournament. JR Kratos could potentially be the new #1 contender for the Universal Heavyweight Championship.
Will Rood bit off more than he could chew. Will Rood has never been handed a defeat quite like the one tonight in the Lucky 7 tournament. JR Kratos could very well be our next #1 contender to the Universal Heavyweight Championship.
You do have to give Will Rood the little excuse of the fact that in round 1 he faced Matt Carlos, round 2 JR Kratos. Very, very different animals in the ring.
Absolutely. Well, we've got more APW action in the Lucky 7 tournament coming up as JR Kratos reaches a handout and congratulatory hug between Real Rood and JR Kratos. The sportsmanship that is right in the APW locker room. Okay, come on. Can you just be professional just once, Matthew? And you see JR Kratos, that man beast, motioning for the championship belt. He could very well get his opportunity. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Are you or your son or daughter celebrating a birthday soon? There's no better way to celebrate a birthday than to throw the birthday person a pro wrestling themed birthday party. We have several packages available, including renting our facility with a customized pro wrestling show. Bring your birthday cake and invite your guests to attend a private pro wrestling birthday party. If you are interested in having all pro wrestling be a part of your birthday celebration, give us a call at 510-785-8396 or visit the website at www.allprowrestling.com.
We've got another match in the Lucky 7 tournament. Matthew Theall, JR Kratos won moments ago over Will Rood. Now the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake, is in one-on-one action in the tournament.
Introducing first from San Francisco, California, weighing 224 pounds, the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake.
This is great. The Lucky 7 tournament does continue. This is the final match of the semifinals of the tournament. The winner of this is going to go on to the finals next week here on Gym Wars to take on JR Kratos, who you saw just beat Will Rood just before the last commercial break.
If I was one of these two men, I would opt to lose. I would lay down right now, similar to Sheik Kanabati earlier on.
Whoa.
Lay down, lose. Who wants to be in the ring with that beast, JR Kratos? Did you see what he did to Rood moments ago?
He beat Will Rood, but then he shook his hand in the middle of the ring. A very different attitude than Sheik Kanabati took at the top of the hour.
It's going to be a very different attitude when the #1 contendership is on the line in the finals of the Lucky 7 tournament. And his opponent tonight is the returning Brian Kendrick, formerly the Brian Kendrick, formerly Spanky. Brian Kendrick is making his triumphant return here to All Pro Wrestling.
And his opponent, returning to the APW Garage for the first time in 10 years, from Venice Beach, California, weighing 185 pounds, Brian Kendrick!
Look at this, JJ. Brian Kendrick back in an all-pro wrestling ring.
It has been 10 years. He has not performed at an APW ring since 2002. What a huge opportunity for Brian Kendrick to return, to win the Lucky 7 tournament, and then to become the #1 contender. Man, what an awesome return that would be for this young man.
He joins the Lucky 7 tournament in the middle of it, in progress. He didn't even have to wrestle in the first round. I would say that gives him a little bit of advantage. We saw Dylan Drake here, I believe, last week in the first round of the Lucky 7 tournament.
We did, absolutely. Dylan Drake, he has actually had that match, and now fresh Brian Kendrick has an opportunity, a real opportunity, to get a little closer to the APW Universal Heavyweight Championship, currently held by the British Messiah Timothy Thatcher.
Is Brian Kendrick having a shouting match with one of the APW sheep in the audience?
Why do you do that? Why do you have to call them a sheep?
It doesn't matter.
faithful.
Let's not talk about how I refer to them. Let's talk about the fact that Brian Kendrick has his head turned and Dylan Drake hasn't even taken advantage.
Well, that just speaks about the class that Dylan Drake has.
Maybe his hair was raining down.
Always with the hair.
The bell is rung. The match is underway. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about Brian Kendrick.
Collar elbow tie up right now. While we talk about the wrestling action. Collar and elbow, Dylan Drake, the Golden Boy, shoving Brian Kendrick into the rope. Oh, Brian Kendrick taking a little break.
Brian Kendrick's still way too distracted heading into this match. He's in there with a former two-time Universal Heavyweight Champion.
Now Brian Kendrick, a former WWE Tag Team Champion. Oh, Akko behind from the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake, the former two-time Universal Heavyweight Champion.
Sending Brian Kendrick down to his belly in full control.
Got that front chancery locked on right now. Just completely. That mat wrestling is one of his strongest games, is Dylan Drake. And the fact that he picks his opponent apart, building for that beta breaker finisher.
Brian Kendrick, though, able to find his way out of Dylan Drake's grasp. showing that Kendrick is still familiar with the APW style. The training in APW is so deep and so strong, it hasn't changed over the years. So Brian Kendrick should be pretty used to wrestling somebody the caliber of Dylan Drake.
Absolutely, and also don't forget that he was also trained by the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels himself at one point. When he was known as Spanky years ago.
Dylan Drake coming in with a huge splash to the corner, whipping Brian Kendrick to the other side of the ring, arm drag.
With authority, and another one to Brian Kendrick.
It's a drop kick. I think Brian Kendrick may have rolled out of the way of that one just in time.
Well, he had his head in the game, just totally scouted that thing on Dylan Drake.
He's hiding in the middle of the sheep, though. Is that behind a baby?
He's hiding behind a child.
Maybe he's just posing for a photo.
I think it's just a short human being. I don't know.
No, that's a kid.
Brian Kendrick, who at one time called himself the Brian Kendrick.
Look at that. He's picked up all those signs for that one guy. That's
show of generosity. Is that what you're trying to insinuate?
no. I guess he's a gentleman.
Do you want his address? Do you want to send him some mail?
No. Brian Kendrick coming back into the ring.
Goes for a big right hand.
Dylan Drake was ready for him.
Drake just scouted that one out, and a couple of big rights from the former APW Universal Heavyweight Champion. Drake with an Irish whip. Oh, he held onto the ropes, did Kendrick, and again bailing to the outside. No.
Wrapping himself underneath that bottom rope. It's a great way to keep Dylan Drake off of you.
And Toby Reynolds trying to admonish Dylan Drake. He's got till 5. He's trying to take a breather. There are no breaks in wrestling.
I've heard stories that Brian Kendrick is kind of a wacky guy, kooky, if you will, and it's absolutely true from what I've seen in this match so far. Dylan Drake in the pin.
Well, remember, Brian Kendrick at one time was running and streaking through WWE audiences. I don't know if you remember that. That was quite some time ago. To get a contract, he literally ran through. He'll do anything.
Dylan Drake going very just
Drake going right to work on the
traditional
quads.
moves of Dylan Drake.
He's going to work right on the quads, the legs of Brian Kendrick. Those powerful legs that cause him all of the flying action that we see out of Brian Kendrick. Drake is going right to work on them to try to set him up for that beta breaker submission.
Oh, Brian Kendrick gets Dylan Drake with some sort of cheap shot, sends him to the apron.
And again, Drake just scouting the move. And now Dylan Drake, the golden boy, up to the top. Here comes, lightning fast is Brian Kendrick.
Dylan Drake in a precarious position on the top rope coming down.
And Kendrick just going right to work with those boots. And look, use the ropes for a little bit of added leverage right now.
Choking Dylan Drake out, but again, he continues to turn his back against his opponent. You can't do that to Dylan Drake.
Brian Kendrick making a very impressive return here to All Pro Wrestling on this edition of Gym Wars.
Choking him on the middle rope.
And against one of the top tier athletes here at All Pro Wrestling in Dylan Drake. This has been a very evenly paced match thus far between these two men, but Dylan Drake has looked very aggressive. Oh, look at that, those big kicks trying to separate the shoulder of the Golden Boy. Kendrick with a cover, grapevine. Only gets a 2. Matthew, I tell you what, I like Brian Kendrick's chances right now.
Well, it looks like he's locking in some sort of submission hold or sleeper onto Dylan Drake. This is a great strategy at this point. Dylan Drake's trying to fight him off.
He's trying not to let his hands be connected, interlacing those fingers.
Looks like he's trying to go for a little bit of a $1 billion blackout there.
Okay, another reference to one of your men. Okay, like
it's
how
the
you
first time I've mentioned him all night. But now a forearm right across the bridge of the nose.
That's a very sensitive area, the bridge of the nose and the eyes, and Kendrick knows right for it. Kendrick with a forearm smash right across the back of the neck.
Brian Kendrick knows exactly where he wants to be in this match, and that is on top of another submission, trying to win his way into the finals of this #1 Contenders Lucky 7 tournament.
A modified camel clutch, and then that forearm smash right across the bridge of the nose from Brian Kendrick. Oh, another one, just viciously driving that forearm right across the bridge of the nose. Never in all of his career in the WWE have I ever seen Brian Kendrick so aggressive in his attack on Dylan Drake right now. Apparently, he really wants to make an impact upon his return here at All Pro
Well,
Wrestling.
who wouldn't want to make an impact in All Pro Wrestling? It's the place to be for professional wrestling. And for a chance to win the Universal Heavyweight title, that's not something that comes across your table every day.
And Drake standing back up to a lateral base. Oh, and just drives Kendrick into the turnbuckles. And able to break the hold.
Dylan Drake using his strength to get out of that one.
And an Irish whip. Here
Coming in
comes
for
an
another
avalanche.
splash.
Nobody home, Matthew Theall. And here he goes.
Going up for the sliced bread, but Dylan Drake catches him.
Drake with a suplex. He's holding him up, stalling. Oh!
That vertical suplex into a backbreaker.
And now the cover, the grapevine. Is that... Oh, a 2 count again. The sliced bread almost. And then it turned into that backbreaker from Dylan Drake, the Golden Boy. Irish whip. Oh, and he couldn't even stand up after driving his body into the turnbuckles, and Kendrick just crumpled to the mat.
We've seen this a number of times from Dylan Drake.
Oh, into a backbreaker. Just catapulting him into a backbreaker, and again Drake with a cover. Oh, and a 2 count.
At this point, when does Dylan Drake move away from those pinfall attempts and try to go for a beta breaker? Looks like he's going to the top, though. We've seen this a number of times from Dylan Drake. The big cross body.
Oh, nobody home. Kendrick scouted it out of the way. Oh, and a kick right to the face. He caught him right on the jaw. Cover. 1, 2.
Almost got him. Dylan Drake kicking out.
That says a lot about the character of Dylan Drake to be able to kick out. And here we go, the sliced bread. No, hey, a cradle from Dylan Drake. Oh, gets a 2 count.
Oh, another boot right to the face of Dylan Drake from Brian Kendrick. Drake could be out cold.
You could almost see the little birdies flying around the head of Dylan Drake. Is that all she wrote right now? Brian Kendrick going to the outside.
Wasting valuable time adjusting that kick pad.
Kendrick off the top is a very dangerous individual.
But it's a splash, knees up just in time.
Right into the lower breadbasket. And here comes Dylan Drake.
Going up with that, he calls this one the Splash Mountain.
And if he hits it, it'll be all she wrote. Oh, the Splash Mountain from the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake. And that is it. He picks up a victory and advances in the Lucky 7 tournament over Brian Kendrick.
Your winner via pinfall in 8 minutes, 31 seconds, the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake.
Well, there we have it. JJ, we've got the finals of the Lucky 7 tournament. It's going to happen next week. JR Kratos and Dylan Drake.
That's another exciting match that I look forward to here on All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars. What an incredible victory for the Golden Boy Dylan Drake over the returning Brian Kendrick.
That's a tough break for Brian Kendrick, but well, he put us all into that one trying to win that number 1 contendership.
He was very impressive. He came up a little bit short against the experience of a 2-time former APW Universal Heavyweight Champion who just wants it that much more. He wants to get a little more after having a taste of being on top of the mountain. The Golden Boy Dylan Drake. And there you see the fallen Brian Kendrick. The former WWE superstar makes his return to APW and just wasn't able to get it done tonight. But is that all we're going to see of Brian Kendrick here at APW, Matthew? Time will tell.
It's kind of an overused saying, but anything can happen right here at All Pro Wrestling, and it often does.
The fans applauding his efforts with an incredible contest contested tonight against Dylan Drake. He's still got a huge future, does that man, Brian Kendrick.
5, 4.
If you would like to get involved behind the scenes with pro wrestling, we are looking for you. All Pro Wrestling is always on the lookout for talented interns in the areas of television production, including commentators, graphic design, and website design. We also have highly paid commission sales and marketing openings. For more information, email your qualifications and resume and tell us which area behind the scenes you'd love to be involved in. For your free brochure, call us at 510-785-8396 or visit us at www.allprowrestling.net.
Hello, All Pro Wrestling Sheep. I am Matthew Theall, the greatest mind in professional wrestling. This is your APW News Break, and here are your headlines. The Lucky 7 tournament rages on as we will crown a new #1 contender for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. Not too long ago, we saw J.R. Kratos defeat Will Rood in impressive fashion, and as a surprise to everyone, Brian Kendrick's grand return to the All-Pro Wrestling ring was cut off at the knees, as Dylan Drake was able to defeat him to move on to the finals, and next week, we will have a #1 contender as J.R. Kratos takes on Dylan Drake. Whoever wins that and becomes the #1 contender will face the winner of the main event next week, as the Universal Heavyweight Championship is on the line when Timothy Thatcher, your champion, defends against Adam Thornstowe. Now, Adam Thornstowe and Timothy Thatcher, we had the APW cameras catch up to them a little while ago. Let's find out what they have to say headed into this huge championship match.
All-Pro Wrestling, Rock Legend Scum, Adam Thornstowe, the #1 contender for the APW Universal Heavyweight title. And next week, you get to see me against the British Messiah, Timothy Thatcher, the only guy in all pro wrestling history that I've never been able to beat. Well, I'll tell you a little fun fact about Timothy Thatcher and I. There's no hatred, there's no bad blood. Hell, the guy was in Reno, Nevada last night, staying at my house, going to see the dwarves, drinking beer with me. And that's great. Because 9 out of 10 times, Timmy, we can be good friends. The thing I respect about you the most, when you stare across that ring and you look in my eyes, you know that you and I are the most competitive people who ever step foot in that ring. Next week, Timmy, I will not be denied. I will walk out finally the APW Universal Heavyweight Champion. Friends, buddies, drinking partners, it doesn't matter next week, Timmy. I went through Dylan Drake. I went through 28 minutes with Dylan Drake to earn this spot. And I will not be denied, Timmy. So next week, the All-Pro Wrestling fans, the Internet fans, the Twitter fans, and the Facebook fans, they're all in for a very, very special treat from Timothy Thatcher and Adam Thornstowe.
I take the sport of professional wrestling very seriously. Maybe a little more so than I should. Notice how I said sport, not bloody sports entertainment, any of that rubbish that you find wandering around us. Here's where wrestlers come. Bloody Nora, I wear a beat-up Pancrase hat all the time because I believe in the sport of professional wrestling. I'm not a sports entertainer, I can't bloody act. And there's one other man that exemplifies that, maybe even more so than me. That's Mr. Adam Thornstowe. Tremendous competitor. One of the best I've ever been in the bloody ring with. And next week, he gets a shot. My Universal Heavyweight title. Even though I've defeated him before, I don't know if I could do it again. That's why he's that bloody good. And when we get in the All-Pro Wrestling ring, will exemplify the sport of professional wrestling, as we will give our bodies and our souls for this title and this company. Mr. Thornstowe, good luck to you, mate. Well, come on, then. God save.
All right, that Universal Heavyweight Championship match will take place in your main event next week on All Pro Wrestling Gym match. That's going to be happening next week on Gym Wars, as the Unified Tag Team Championship will be on the line as Sue K defends against what they're calling the unlikely tag team of wrestling personified Rick Luxury and one Mr. Damian Grundy. Now, the APW cameras, well, they requested our presence. We showed up on time, unlike someone else that I know. Let's get to that footage now.
Theall.
Why is it Marcus back? I don't know. We knew when we were supposed to do this. But, let's do it. Sue K, I promised both of you that in time, Damian Grundy and Rick Luxury were going to come together and challenge for your Unified Tag Team Championship. And the time is upon us. Next week, you're going to get in the ring with them, and when it's all said and done, and when that dust settles and all those cliches have come and gone, Damian Grundy and Rick Luxury will be tag team champions.
Now you See, Theall, I have no idea why Marcus Mack is not here right now. And normally I want to wrap my hands around your little Weasley neck and squeeze. But time to change. You have done everything you have said you were going to do, and you helped me regain my worldwide internet. Hold on now, what the hell is going on? Theall, what are you trying to pull around here, brother? You told me to be here at 3 o'clock. What the hell is this? You guys are filming without me? Don't try to step on my toes.
Hang on a second.
Take me in.
Move the tool. Everything.
Marcus. Suke, I already know what it's like to walk into Vendetta Pro Wrestling and walk away with championship gold. And I've been a staple point here in All Pro Wrestling as the worldwide internet champion. Damian Grundy, just like you helped me retain my title weeks ago, next week, I'm going to make sure you walk away with your first championship. Because Damian Grundy, Suke, this man is hungry. Marcus Mack, you already know. We thicker than thieves. I'm getting greedy. The gold's coming home, Theall, next week. Listen, man, I'll fill you in on everything. Next week, we're going to win some gold. Come on, let's go, man. Let me tell you everything that's going on. I don't know about the 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock thing. I'll just fill you in. Come on, let's go. I want no goddamn sandwich. You keep your sandwich to yourself. You need to stop listening to this junk.
Now, despite what people might be thinking right now, I do guarantee 100% that Rick Luxury and Damian Grundy will walk away the new tag team champions next week on Gym Wars. Now, also, recently, there's been a little bit of controversy with Sheik Kanabati and the Almighty Sheik. It hasn't come to blows and confrontations between the two of them, but Sheik Kanabati is not too happy to have another Sheik running around All Pro Wrestling. And in so, allowed Alan Michaels, a rookie of All Pro Wrestling fresh out of the APW boot camp, to beat him and get his first victory. Now, after that match, after some heated words by Sheik Kanabati to the APW management, our cameras did catch up with him outside, and Sheik wasn't quite done talking.
Oh. Apparently you got another Sheik you can go film. You don't need to follow me around. Why don't you go ask him his opinion? APW!
Next week on All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars, we've got a huge program, including the APW Vendetta Pro Unified Tag Team Championships, the champion Suke of Hayden Anthony and Tsunami, taking on the wrestling personified Rick Luxury and Damian Grundy. Also, on Gym Wars next week, the finals of the Lucky 7 tournament as the man beast from Sacramento, J.R. Kratos, takes on a former Universal Heavyweight Champion, the Golden Boy Dylan Drake. That's next week. And in the main event of Gym Wars, we've got the Universal Heavyweight Championship on the line as the British Messiah Timothy Thatcher defends against the Rock legend scum Adam Thornstowe. Thornstowe's never beat Thatcher before. Can it happen next week here on Gym Wars?
All right, JJ, I'm back. It's main event time. Did you like the news break?
Yeah, I did, but you were gone for an extremely long time.
It takes a little while to get back to the commentary booth.
You have mustard on your chin.
Thanks.
The Unified World Heavyweight Championship is on the line as the Unified World Champion in his second bout here at All Pro Wrestling in the Garage takes on a former Universal Heavyweight Champion in Jeckles. The Almighty Sheik with his manager Brian Zane, your first cousin. In his return to the APW gym, making a splash here at APW, going right for one of the top dogs here in the All Pro Wrestling roster.
Well, Brian Zane did issue that open challenge to anybody on the All Pro Wrestling roster, and Jeckles was the one that finally voiced up and said that he would take it. And, well, Well, I mean, if there's anybody that I can think of in All Pro Wrestling to take it to the Almighty Sheik, it'd be Jeckles.
Absolutely. The Almighty Sheik with Brian Zane. Brian Zane always comes out with his purple bottle. I don't know what substance is in this bottle that he's spraying all the time.
I don't. The world never knows. It could be plain water. It could be baby oil. It could be vinegar.
Is that not something you guys talk about when you're sitting at your family reunions and things of that nature?
I just want to say right here, right now, in front of everyone, that Brian Zane and I are not related in any way, shape, or form.
Not cousins?
We're not cousins.
Brothers.
We're not brothers. We are nothing. We are nothing to each other.
Sisters.
No, we're not sisters. Sorry.
Well, it's got to be said, the resemblance is uncanny. But Brian Zane, the manager of the Unified World Champion, something you've never done. Just throwing that out there.
This is ridiculous. We have the Almighty Sheik in the All Pro Wrestling Ring, JJ, and all you want to do is sit there and attack me. All you want to do is talk about me. We've got a world-class athlete in the ring. He is the Unified World's Heavyweight Champion. The Almighty Sheik stands there representing not only the NWA, but the AWA as the Unified World's Champion.
Why are you talking so much about yourself? The APW having an opportunity to see the Unified World Champion in the ring right now. This elaborate entrance as he prays to Mecca right now. Earlier on, APW's own Sheik Khan Abadi sending a message to the All Pro Wrestling Commissioner's office and everybody else here at APW with his disdain for there being another Sheik inside the APW ring.
You know, JJ, all day you've been taking the actions of Sheik Khan Abadi so lightly. He walked out on All Pro Wrestling, an action that, in my opinion, is completely unforgivable.
So you think he needs to be fined or fired?
I think he needs to be removed from the roster completely and never seen in All Pro Wrestling again.
And APW's very own Jeckles coming out to the ring in just a moment in his opportunity for the Unified World Championship. What a huge opportunity to win that championship right here at APW in the garage would be a huge boon to All Pro Wrestling.
Well, I did say it earlier today that there is only one man on the APW roster that I can think of that could take it to the Almighty Sheik, and that is him right there, Jeckles.
Now, Jeckles knows what it is to be on top of the mountain, having been the APW Universe. Hey! The bell hasn't even rung, and
Stephen Lawrence didn't even get his announcing in.
Well, regardless, the championship, the Unified World Championship, is on the line. This is a sanctioned title match from a man who has a disputed claim to the AWA and the NWA World Heavyweight Championships, having won both of those championships, even though they are not officially recognized by either of those governing bodies.
Oh, a huge chop from the Almighty Sheik, sending Jeckles into the corner. How much power is behind that?
The Almighty Sheik has an extremely big lineage of violence that he has left in the wake of his career since applying himself at the game of professional wrestling. The Almighty Sheik taking it right to Jeckles.
Oh. Well, Jeckles able to turn the tables on the Almighty Sheik really quick. Sends Sheik into the corner, comes in with a huge clothesline.
And the Unified World Champion in trouble right now. And to the outside goes the Almighty Sheik.
Jeckles may have clubbed him so hard in the brain that all the Mighty Sheik could do is just get out of the way. Brian Zane coming in for some last-minute counseling.
Zane and the Almighty Sheik having a little bit of a regrouping session right now. Jeckles
just walks by Brian Zane as if he's not even there.
A big left hand from the Almighty Sheik, the Unified World Champion.
Whoa.
Driving that steel
Hey,
chair.
is there no disqualifications in this match?
I don't know what exactly is going through the mind of Toby, but he knows how important this match is to All Pro Wrestling, this Unified World Championship. So apparently the rule book's been thrown out, Matthew.
Given the amount of abuse that Jeckles not only gives in his matches, but the amount of abuse that he takes, I mean, do you even want to disqualify someone for introducing a chair into a match with Jeckles?
It's hard to say, and the presence of mind being shown by the Almighty Sheik a moment ago as he rolled his body in to break the count. And is he going to pile drive him on the outside?
Not only on the outside, but on a chair on the outside. It looks like what he's looking for. Oh, back body drop. Whoa.
And the back of the Almighty Sheik's head crashed with the concrete. There is no protective mat outside of the ring here at APW. That concrete is very unforgiving, Matthew. And now the challenger, the Jeckles, just driving his foot right to the spine of the Almighty Sheik.
You'd see Jeckles favoring that back. The Almighty Sheik looks lost on his feet. This match isn't even 5 minutes deep, and both men may need to be taken to the hospital already.
Sheik is sitting on a fan on an exceptionally large man on the outside. Oh, a big forearm smash from Jeckles.
Jeckles firmly in control of this, sending the Almighty Sheik's face into the ring apron.
And the champion back in the ring right now. Jeckles has got to beat him inside of the ring to win that Unified World Championship.
Oh, hanging Jeckles' chest and throat off of the top rope. Sheik coming in with a huge charging forearm, sending Jeckles back to the outside.
That forearm right across the side of the jaw of the challenger Jeckles.
It looks like Jeckles may have landed on his arm out there. He could have a broken wrist.
And the Almighty Sheik, the Unified World Champion, going right outside. He has just been relentless.
Again with another chair, Toby. I'm going to just go ahead and declare this a no disqualification contest.
You can't do that.
I can.
You're not on the championship committee.
Send Blackwell a text.
And Almighty Sheik grabbing Jeckles, the challenger. Just tossing him into the chairs.
Into the chairs, into the people who've paid their hard-earned money to sit in the war zone there, the APW students and security staff. Sheik, this Almighty Sheik doesn't care about anybody.
Well, nobody, you notice that no one is trying to actually look this man in the eye. He is so intimidating, is the Unified World Heavyweight Champion.
I mean, Toby telling Almighty Sheik to take the action back into the ring, but really, what are you going to do?
Right? And, I think that what the thing is the championship is held under different rules. It's got to be. Maybe that's why there's been no disqualification. Although I was not informed of any of these rules beforehand.
That's fine. Let's just call the action as it is. With the Almighty Sheik with a foot across the throat of Jeckles. That's a smart move right there. That's good.
Well, he's still got to adhere to APW rules as Toby Reynolds admonishes him and gives him a count of 5 to get his foot off the throat of the challenger Jeckles.
The Almighty Sheik looking as confident as ever as he slowly walks his way into the corner to go grab Jeckles.
Jeckles looks in more trouble than I've seen him in a long time in this match against the Sheik. An Irish whip, and down goes Jeckles after colliding with the opposite turnbuckles.
And again, the confidence of the Almighty Sheik as he just stands as Jeckles writhes in pain in the ring.
The Almighty Sheik, the only man allowed to call himself the Sheik by the family of the original Sheik. And the Unified World Champion now using his foot and using the ropes for leverage. He's going to use all of that 5 count as much as he can.
The Almighty Sheik is picking.
Hey,
and Brian Zane choking Jeckles with Toby's back turn. But I was just about to say that the Almighty Sheik has picked apart Jeckles in a method that I have never seen before. I have never seen Jeckles take so much punishment. I've never seen him so slow to get back to his feet.
I can agree with you, especially when he's got Brian Zane helping him out. Choking the challenger on the ropes. And now the Unified World Champion goes for a suplex. Look at that block from Jeckles.
Somehow Jeckles is able to keep the wherewithal to reverse it into a vertical suplex of his own.
And he landed violently on his lower back.
That lower back and that tailbone has to be bruised from that brutal back body drop he took to the concrete on the outside.
Oh, leveling him with a clothesline is the Almighty Sheik. The Unified World Champion in control right now. Taking down Jeckles with the clothesline and Brian Zane directing traffic on the outside.
I do want to point out again, the Almighty Sheik back to his feet and Jeckles still on the mat.
Oh, driving the knee. The damage has been done. And look at that, just using his knee to drive it over the forehead of Jeckles. He truly is violent. He's doing whatever it takes to beat his opponent into submission.
Oh, there we go. Going up with that camel clutch. Oh, just pulling the head and the neck of Jeckles back as far as it'll go.
He has got it locked on perfectly right now in the center of the ring, and Jeckles has nowhere to go. The master of this finishing move.
Jeckles, though, sliding his arms out from underneath the grasp of the Almighty Sheik.
And look at that. Oh,
man, cut off.
Forearm right across the side of the head from the Unified World Champion. Oh, and another one, just a clubbing blow.
It seems as though he dedicated that last one to the APW faithful at ringside.
And if you've never been hit in the ear, I'll tell you what, it takes away your equilibrium. It's hard for you to get your bearings, to be able to stand up.
Sheik coming in with a diving elbow, but Jeckles out of the way just in time.
Jeckles rolled just a couple of inches out of the way, but look at that. He still is just out of this thing right now, trying to make it up to his feet, trying to use the ropes. The Almighty Sheik is just all over him. Oh, big kick. Don't count Jeckles out yet. The Unified World Heavyweight Champion choking on the challenger now. And the Almighty Sheik with a reversal of the Irish whip from Jeckles. Here, Jeckles with a back suplex, and he folds over the Unified World Champion.
I don't know where Jeckles found the strength for that, but he picked him up like he was tissue paper.
Can you say that this is the night that Jeckles becomes the Unified World Heavyweight Champion? You were there, Matthew.
That is really, I don't know if I could get behind that, though. I have seen the beating that the Almighty Sheik has given Jeckles so far in this match. I'm not sure if Jeckles stands a chance.
Jeckles has been known to win in moments of adversity before. If he wins tonight, he wins for all of us here at APW.
A huge boot to the face and a clothesline from Jeckles takes the Almighty Sheik off of his feet.
That kick caught him right in the face. And look at that, just again walking right past Brian Zane. Jeckles just doesn't care.
And he is completely focused on his opponent and the opportunity to become the Unified World's Champion.
Those forearms having their effect on the Unified World Champion. And right out there in the action zone.
And a chair shot from Jeckles for good measure on that one.
A little bit of a receipt from Jeckles.
It seems as though the tides have turned for the Almighty Sheik, who eats it into the chair.
That was just nasty.
Steal for dinner. Dude, would you like that?
Dinner?
What? Toby's calling for the bell. I guess you can only allow so much.
Toby Reynolds has declared this match a no contest.
Apparently, they're just going to throw this thing out. They're just rolling all over the place, and Toby Reynolds has made the call.
Toby Reynolds has called off the match, but it seems as though that's allowed Jeckles and the Almighty Sheik free reign of the All Pro Wrestling Garage and the surrounding areas.
Well, the match might be over, but the fight sure as heck isn't.
All it's done is liberate these guys from the ringside area.
And Jeckles and the Unified World Champion.
No,
Almighty Sheik
not
on the
at the
outside.
Black House Barbecue.
Hey, I thought you said something about dinner a little while ago.
That was supposed to be it.
And now going back in the ring, or excuse me, into the garage, but the match has already been decided. The match has been thrown out from Toby Reynolds, our official.
But the fight, like we said, the fight is not over. I don't think Brian Zane can even control the Almighty Sheik at this point.
This thing is far from over between the Almighty Sheik and Jeckles.
Biting the head of Jeckles, pulling at that hair, trying to draw blood.
Jeckles is going to have to get a rabies shot after that.
And finally, APW security has found their way into this, trying to pull the Almighty Sheik off of Jeckles.
This thing has just been a pure sixer. APW faithful, we apologize for not having a clear, concise match and a victory, but sometimes this happens when a championship of this nature is on the line.
Especially when you have two combustible elements like Jeckles and the Almighty Sheik in the same ring at the same time.
And look, these men are just literally being pulled apart by the APW security and our officials. This has truly been a fight. Oh! And a huge right hand from the Almighty Sheik. The Unified World Champion might leave here tonight with the championship and a little bit of bragging rights that he didn't lose, but I got to tell you, I believe that Jeckles has got him a piece of him.
We've got All Pro Wrestling security trying to separate these men. Longtime All Pro Wrestling volunteer Jeff Nessman, referee Toby Reynolds. I don't think anybody's going to be able to pull these guys apart.
They've gone back into the ring, and I think that that's just based on, that's where they mostly do most of their wrestling, but this is not wrestling anymore. This is a
Brian
fight.
Zane just went in and kicked Jeckles. What is he thinking?
This thing is just denigrated down.
But Jeckles, he wants more. He's begging for more.
Well, he's being restrained right now from any more contact with the Unified World Champion.
I think we may have finally gotten control of the situation here at ringside.
We are trying to restore order here at APW in the garage. The Unified World Championship, we've said it before, we'll repeat it, it has been thrown out, this championship match. It has been a no contest from Toby Reynolds.
Well, you have to believe that this one is far from over. Far from over.
And Brian Zane holding the championship highlight.
Oh, they're going at it again. The Almighty Sheik, he had his opportunity to escape, but chose again to come into the ring to restart this fight.
And Jeckles, and this has just really gone downhill.
Do we need to call the police? Is security not going to be enough?
We've got 10 men trying to pull these two men apart, and it's just not enough. They're just literally fighting
Brian
each
Zane's
other,
there
tooth and nail.
hosing everybody down. I'm not sure if that's going to calm down the situation or just exacerbate it.
And both men having to be restrained right now from the security and Toby Reynolds. Just stop this thing already.
And finally, it looks like Brian Zane is trying to lead the Almighty Sheik out of the area.
Again, APW faithful, we apologize for what you've seen moments ago. We hope to get more on this encounter between the Almighty Sheik and Jeckles. It's been an incredible contest. We look forward to seeing you next week here in All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars. So long, everybody.